on 75th Street, and there was a guy that pulled up next to me in a Lamborghini. Okay, you don't see those very often at all. And so I have the bus window open, and I look down inside the car, and this guy looks like he's about 80. And I say $180,000 car, 80 years old. You know, that car, that money could have probably built 3 or 4 churches in another country. You know, so he sees me looking, and so he says, just got her today. It'll do everything it says on the speedometer. And so as I was looking at him, the light turned green, and I leaned my head out the window, and I said, I still think I can take you. You know, speaking of Jesus, Jesus was not just a healer. He was not just a person who fed many people. He was a very educated person, and educated by the best teacher of all, God. He had developed good reasoning, matured at an early age, taught church leaders. He was a true educator. I'm going to tell you a story about a teacher that turned my life around. Now, I got to tell you, when I was in 5th grade, you all know I was in an accident, and you all know I had partial paralysis in my hands. And they had decided to do an operation on my arm. This would give me the ability to make a fist. Okay, and so what they was going to do is transplant muscles. And so I went in for this operation and got it done. And unfortunately, it left me where I couldn't use the arm for a long time. So they decided, I was in 5th grade, they decided that they would put me with a study helper. And I conveniently thought of it as someone who can do my work for me. Okay. And so anyway, went through that entire year, and I never did a thing. Got straight A's, never did a thing. That I had really good helpers who were A students, and so I more or less just skimmed through that year without doing a thing. Well, I got used to that. 6th grade come along. I got a teacher named Robert DeGrange. Okay, Mr. DeGrange. I will never forget Mr. DeGrange. Mr. DeGrange, he had a kind of a funny walk to him, and he had something wrong with his hand, and so took him kind of lightly, Well, anyway, I went through the first quarter, and the first quarter of the school year, I did exactly what I did in my 5th grade year. The difference was I didn't have anybody doing my work. So I did practically nothing the first quarter of school. Okay, so I get my grade card, and I go home, and it's F, 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 D, and an A, music. So I take this home to my dad. Now, you got to know my dad. My dad was always huge on school, huge on grades. There was, if you got a D, he wanted to know why. He wanted to know the plan to take care of it. He wanted to go talk to the teacher. He wanted to ensure that the principal was in on it. Pretty much involved the world. Okay. So when I saw this grade card, I thought, oh Lord, what am I going to do to get through this? So I went home, and that poor teacher, I lied. I told my dad, I said, you know what I think his problem is? I think he don't like handicapped people. That's horrible. Horrible. Okay, so my dad says, okay, and that just shut my dad up, just cut him off. He didn't say another word. And I thought, okay, here's my plan. My plan is I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to get straight A's. And then when he sees the next grade card, it'll all be behind me. And I'll just never do that again. So the next day I go to school, everything's kind of going on like normal. When the PA comes on and they said, "Mr. DeGrange, would you come to the office, please?" And so he left. Well, about 20 minutes went by, enough time for the principal to come in. And when the principal came in, he walked by me and giggled and winked at me. I thought, what does that mean? So he goes up front and he sits down. And then Mr. DeGrange comes in, he walks by me, and he had the most disappointed look on his face. It was heartbreaking to see the disappointment in that man's face. I mean, he was already about 60, so he had educated for a long time, and to have someone cut him down like that, it was horrible. Well, he goes over to his filing cabinet, and he gets out these two folders. One was red, and one was green. The red one was filled to the brim, had things sticking out of it everywhere. The green one was very thin, almost like nothing in it. And so he walks by me, and he says, "You'll need to come with me." I said, "Okay." And so he said, "Son," he says, "you got in trouble at home, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." And I didn't say anything else because I didn't want to tell him what I had said about him. So I got into the office, and he turns around and looks at me, and he says, "You know what? I've been an educator for a long time, and I've learned not to let kids like you take me down." He goes, "So check this out, Mr. Brazil." He opens up the red folder. The first thing in it was a picture. It was an 8x10 full color of me asleep at my desk. The next paper had a little scribble on it that said, "If you want this done, do it yourself." Written by yours truly. Okay. The next paper said I had to work all night to feed the kids, couldn't do the homework, sorry. I mean, I just did all kinds of despicable things to this teacher and to myself. Okay, so he gets through this. I mean, he had an 8x10 of me getting on the school bus with my arm circled because there was no books out. Because he said that I never did anything, so why would I take anything home? I'm not going to do nothing there either. Then he turns around and he tells my dad, he says, "But one day, I lit a fire under James." He said, "And this is how I did it." He goes, "We had a penmanship thing going on where some kids were really messy, and so we needed to do a paper on that. And so I announced to the class that we wouldn't expect as much out of James since he had a paralyzed hand." And he goes, and that just burned James up. So this is what James did. So he pulls out this green folder, and it was a perfectly written, the best penmanship, spelling, you name it, it was an A. And he goes, this is what James is capable of doing. This is what James is choosing to do. So, my dad did what dads did back then. He said, you might want to leave the room if you don't want to see what's going to happen. Well, after that, I was an AB student all the way through high school. Because there was a teacher that took the time to turn me around. Took the time to document. Took the time to take photos. Took the time to say, this kid is not getting away. That's the kind of teachers we have at Midland. You guys, not tomorrow, if there's elementary teachers here tonight, I'd like you all to give them a hug when you leave. Because they are responsible for helping. They're responsible for getting you where you are. You know, parental help, grandma, grandpa help. But I'll tell you, a lot of these teachers will take their lunchtime or their planning period time, and they'll take kids who don't read so well, and they'll read with them. They have the heart of Jesus. That's what Midland is. Midland is the heart of Jesus. I don't believe there'll ever be a school like Midland. I sent my kids here, the ones that can go. I am so proud of them. And you guys get to pray every day. You get to learn about God every day. You get to enjoy each other's company in a godly fashion. And you're around people who care about you. And these teachers, this staff, just like your parents, we love you to death. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. We want all good things for you through your whole life. Father God, I love you. Lord, thank you for letting me speak. Lord, thank you for watching over the school. Lord, I ask that you just please continue to let these students grow through the high school teachers, that they're not afraid of them, that they go and they talk with them, that they use all the extra time after school and stuff to do what they need to do to get great grades, to do a great job on their ACT, and to get into a great college and live their life the fullest for you. I love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mr. Zeal. I liked when Morgan was introducing you, how she said that you remind us of Jesus. Not really a higher compliment that you can pay to somebody, so thanks, James. Mr. Brazil, you're the man, so thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see, next we're going to be watching a slideshow filled with adorable pictures of the class. And I want to stop real quick and thank Mrs. Wickheiser for putting that together, taking the time to do that. Every year I have to enlist some students or parents to help out, and again, I've had a great group of supportive parents, so thank you, Mrs. Wickheiser, for your hard work on that. And so I'll be watching this for the first time as well, in 8th grade. If you want to come down the stairs and take over the front row, and if somebody maybe wants to hit the lights.